My name is Mauve Turtle, and this is a guide to the Forbidden Idol changes coming out on patch 6.13. This includes a new passive plus 10% to healing and shielding power with a 300 gold cost increase, as well as corresponding changes to Ardent, Censer, and Mikael's Crucible. In this guide, we will try to answer 3 questions. How is this passive applied? Is Forbidden Idol cost efficient? And how do the completed items, Mikael's Crucible and Ardent Censer, fit into a typical support build? The rules for when Forbidden Idol's passive is applied are the same as for when Windspeakers' Blessing applies, meaning it doesn't matter if you are the recipient of a shield or heal, it matters whether or not you are the source. That means it needs to come from your abilities and passives, your summoner spells, or your items. Windspeaker's Blessing and Forbidden Idol amplify all healing and shielding except for Lifesteal, Health Regeneration, Spell Vamp, or Granted Bonus Health. Think like Lulu or Nasushold for that one. This means that while it won't increase your Spell Vamp from Morgana's passive, it will increase your healing from a completed Hextech Gunblade. And while it won't increase your health regen from an Athene's Unholy Grail, it will amplify your healing from your Athene's Bloodwell stacks. The only other exception to the all-healing rule is the mana to health conversion from Catalyst, which despite being listed as a heal is not affected by either Forbidden Idol or Windspeakers. This means that yes, even health regained by things like Guardian Angel and Zillion's Ultimate are normally affected by Windspeakers and Forbidden Idol. While Windspeakers and Forbidden Idol apply in all the same situations, they don't apply in the same way. Windspeakers applies multiplicatively with other healing buffs. For example, if you heal someone with Spirit Visage and Runic armor, the heal is increased by 49% instead of 44%. Forbidden Idol, on the other hand, applies additively and doesn't take any other healing or shielding buffs, including Windspeakers, into account. So essentially what this means is that if there are 2 Namis in a game, both are maxing Ebb and Flow, one of them has Windspeakers and Runic armor while the other has Thunderlords and points in the Ferocity tree instead of Resolve, they would both get the same benefit from Forbidden Idol since all it takes into account is the base value plus any scaling. But should either of these Namis even buy Forbidden Idol? To determine how cost-efficient Forbidden Idol is in lane, I'd like to compare it to Fiendish Codex. Fiendish Codex costs only 50 more gold, has the same 10% cooldown reduction, has no mana regen to Forbidden Idol's 50%, and instead of a 10% bonus to his shields and heals, has 30 ability power. Now if you are playing a champion who maxes their heal or shield first, someone like Nami, Janna, Soraka, then building Forbidden Idol will increase your heal by only 2 or 3 more than if you had just bought Fiendish Codex. So to determine which item is a better buy, you simply have to weigh whether you value the mana regen from Forbidden Idol, or the extra ability power for your damage and utility scaling from Fiendish Codex more. On the other hand, if you're playing a champion who takes only 1 or 2 points in their healing or shielding ability early, someone like Bard or Sona, you're probably better off just taking a Fairy Charm and an Amplifying Tome than trying to finish Forbidden Idol. If you're playing a tank support like Alistar or Taric, I suggest comparing Forbidden Idol to Kindle Gem instead. In this case, you're weighing the mana regen and about 6 to 18 bonus health, depending on what you max first, against a flat 200 health. So if you're mostly concerned about small traits, Forbidden Idol might be better. If you're mostly expecting hard engages, Kindle Gem is probably better. Finally, I'm just going to talk briefly about the completed items which Forbidden Idol builds into, Mikael's Crucible and Ardent Censer. Both items had their cost increased to 2400 gold, that's a 100 gold increase for Mikael's Crucible and a 200 gold increase for Ardent Censer, and both gained a plus 15% power to healing and shielding passive. Additionally, Ardent Censer's ability power was increased to 60 from 40, and its mana regen was lowered to plus 50% from plus 100%. Now this is a pretty substantial buff to both items, with the passive being equivalent to between 40 and 50 AP for most champions, heals, and shields. In Mikael's case, I think that this buff can open up a lot of opportunities where champions with high base values on their heals and shields will buy this item first and then move on to other items with healing and shielding in them, things like Locket and Athene's, and kind of go for a Windspeakers type build even if they don't necessarily have Windspeakers. And this buff is actually still pretty good even for champions who don't really have much in the way of healing or shielding and just want the item for the active, since the passive applies to things like Targon's heals, Face of the Mountain, and Locket shields. In regards to the Ardent Censer buff, I think that Ardent Censer is a very situational item. It's one that requires your team to utilize an offensive passive that they might not even notice. I don't think that the buff will change which champions want to build this item or when. This item will mostly still appeal to champions with AoE shields and heals, and you'll probably still want Locket first. It's just likely to be more powerful in its own niche. One final note. While the passive on Forbidden Idol is unique, the passives on Mikael's Crucible and Ardent Censers are not. So you don't have to choose between these two items, you can get both and have a plus 30% additive bonus to healing and shielding. You can even buy a third Forbidden Idol after completing the first two items for a plus 40% additive bonus. But since the bonus is only additive, it's almost always going to be more cost efficient to just buy a blasting wand for the same cost. Alright, that's everything I wanted to cover in this video. I'll be posting my formula for calculating how healing modifiers are applied in the description. If you want to ask a question like about how a certain item or ability interacts with Forbidden Idol or Windspeakers, go ahead and do that in the comments. Alright guys, thanks for watching!